I have a picture again. I can see stuff.
I've got
So-
Dan's stream. Okay, there we go.
We missed Beauvoir boss fight on Fudge's side, but we're right in time for Dan's boss fight against Simone, Beauvoir, whatever.
And he's executing this pretty fluidly, not getting hacked, getting all his punches down first try. Very clean Beauvoir hacking phase. Pardon my pronunciation. I'm terrible with names. So Fudge is now a pretty sizable lead ahead. He's almost an entire section ahead at this point, since he's now in the village.
Yes, basically it's a bit more than the walk to the village in difference.
Oh, and it looks like Dan got unlucky, and he got the cutscene where he can't actually skip because of his self-destruct.
You cannot skip it with start. You can always skip it by holding B.
I found sometimes after a self-destruct, just depending on the timing, the B prompt does not appear.
Sometimes it's difficult, but it always worked for me if I just tried again. But like I said, I didn't run this game for too long. It's only half a year now, so there might be weird stuff in this game that happens sometimes, but has not yet happened to me.
Well, either way, we're back on. The race is on. Streams are looking good again.
So, as you have seen on Dan's side and what Fudge did do, at the end of the boss fight, they did a self-destruct. Which blew them up, put them at 1 HP, and is the reason for the annoying beeping sound we're hearing right now. But the reason we're doing this is it puts us at 1 HP, and we do a death warp coming up to this now, and doing a death warp obviously is way easier when you're at 1 HP than compared to when you're at full HP. And the reason why we're doing the death warp is we're doing a fetch quest at this point. Pascal, that's the leader of the peaceful machine village, he gave us an item to bring to the resistant camp, and when we do that, we get another item that we should bring back to Pascal. But the way dying in this game works is it spawns a corpse at the point where you died, and you lose all your chips and all the experience you gained since the last point you saved, and those are stored in that corpse. And when you can pick up the corpse and gain this back, and you respawn at the last save point you saved at. But you do keep all the items you collected. So what we do is we save at Pascal's village when we're there for the first time, kill ourselves when we're after picking up the item at the resistance camp. We respawn at the village. We don't care about the chips and experience that we lost, because we didn't equip any chips yet, and we also didn't gain any experience since the last save. But we do keep the item, so we just deliver the item to Pascal and go on.
So Fudge is actually coming up now on Angles the Return. And so 2 Angles end up dropping in the city, and now you have to go kill both of them by hand. And there's a decently easy skip.
You don't have to kill both of them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We'll see if Fudge gets this skip coming up here. It's not the most difficult of skips, and it has a backup in case you screw it up.
The backup is kind of difficult, though. It's a high jump, which in itself isn't too difficult, but it's a high jump during combat. So you can get perfect evades, or you can get hit, and it throws you off. Also, if you're stupid as me, you can jump off the building and Well, that's a soft lock.
Are you saying you need me to be?
You can
Well, it's
you,
not entire soft lock, but you can still can kill angles with pot fire only, but
no, you
that's
can.
that's
It happened
insanely
to me
slow.
actually in a run yesterday. I had tried to do the skip and I had Engels punch me off the building, and so you can climb the ladder back up, and when Engels does do punches, you can still get in a damage glitch. So you kind of have to hope for punches at that point.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you can still get it. Yeah, that might be possible, but it's horrible because there's an invisible wall preventing you from entering the fight again. Fudge did the more difficult one. He skipped the first of these two angles fights, entering the fight units and going to the second fight.
And here's one of the first instances of picking up pod C and using the pod fire to one-hit bosses we're gonna see. Engels has
Two
a
hit
funny...
bosses.
Yeah, two hit the bosses. Sorry.
That's why we need
That's why we need two.
because we need to two hit him.
And so you can see
yeah.
Engels actually has a funny hitbox here, where if you position yourself between his neck and his shoulder, you can actually arc all of the pod program into him.
That's basically because he's a huge guy, a huge boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you saw when he attacked the second Engels, the life bar, the health bar didn't go down. That's because that's actually the life bar of the first Engels.
2B, Command is deploying new flight units for us. They just set the coordinates, so let's get going.
On it.
Also, Dan is picking up the transporter here. Fudge didn't pick it up, as far as I saw that. So that transporter is for a skip later on. There is there's basically two versions of that skip. One requires the transporter, is a bit slower than the other one, but way easier. And the other one, well, is more difficult, but doesn't require the transporter and is faster.
Probably shouldn't get near that guy's feet.
And Fudge now is coming up on a section of the game called Negotiations. It's a completely timed segment of the game.
Yes,
usually you want to kill Adam once to get your level up. Eve, sorry.
It's Eve.
This is, my inexperience in this run is showing. Stop it.
It doesn't even matter whether it's Adam or Eve. You just kill it. Yes, so Adam is the guy talking, and he talks a lot. Basically, all he does is talking. So yeah, and that's where what I was talking about earlier. This entire fight is waiting for him to stop talking, and there is a method. We have a method of skipping any dialogue in the game, but it's not available to us in new game A ending, and it makes this fight be instantly over as soon as it starts, and it's amazing. But yeah, if you watch the run, you might not actually realize that it's waiting for dialogue because we're fighting Eve here, but that's just to grab some extra experience by killing him once before the fight is over. Let's see if anyone tries for Negotiations Escape.
Looks like Fudge is going for it. Here, because it is a completely timed sequence, what we end up doing is warping or going out of bounds and then running back through the tunnel towards where we came from, and you can kill all the machines in the tunnel to gain some extra levels and open up the ability for you to be able to dash swing out, thus speeding up your time. And we really need the levels as much as we can get here. Some runners...
It doesn't save any time, but it gives you a little bit of extra experience, and you can pick up a chest with titanium alloy. Fudge didn't pick it up, apparently. Let's see if Dan picks it up. You don't need those, but if you're lucky with random item drops from the other enemies, you might be able to upgrade your sword a second time, which is quite helpful because it deals more damage, but it also changes some out-of-bounds clips later on.
These are the creatures that are in direct command of the machine life forms on this planet.
So, and there you see the talking was over, and he was warped back to the fighting arena, and now walks out again. And that's just exactly the same point where you're at when you don't get the out of bounds, the escape. So it doesn't save any time, but you do get some nice extra experience and those titanium alloys if you decide to try for purchase the level 3 upgrade on the sword.
Seems like they've been here for a long time.
What is this place?
I don't know. There's nothing like it in the database.
So now, not too much happening for Fudge. It's you end up transporting back to the bunker, and then it's more dialogue skips and menu mashing until you go back to Pascal's village. There is one dialogue skip you can do to cut your time down in bunker.
Relax, Eve.
We'll see if he goes for it. I imagine he will.
Fine.
My name is Adam. The aliens you see.
So you say not much is happening there, but it's still interesting because we just unlocked the transporters, which basically is quick travel,
And who knows?
and we're gonna use that a couple more times in the speedrun.
The androids next. Machines are weapons capable of evolution.
Looks like Fudge actually opts to not do the dialogue skip.
Become aware.
Yes,
Eventually, the intelligence within
I don't do that one either.
began to surpass that of our creators. You'd probably be surprised at how
Doesn't save too much time.
You destroyed
You're probably hearing us say that a lot, it doesn't save too much time, and that's actually true for most of the skips in this game.
almost like
All of them are
you'd say. They held
not
no
saving too much time, some are saving more than others.
Now they are
So that's why I actually think this game is actually pretty friendly towards beginners, because
uncountable numbers
if you're a new player and you're unable to do some of the skips, you're still able to get decent times.
What could possibly
So
drive such
that's actually pretty nice.
We have
Yeah,
dedicated
definitely a
ourselves
lot of
to
different ways you can approach picking up the run as a beginner.
now we will
You
allow
can
you
choose to work on all the skips if you want to, or you can just play very solidly through, get the fundamentals down, just do all your combat really well, and still have a comparable time.
We will then dissect and
Yes.
analyze them.
So Fudge is pretty far ahead right now. It's basically the entire negotiations fight. Also, he's doing his second sequence of shopping here, refilling on recovery items and picking up some buff items. So Fudge is pretty far ahead, but there's still very much that he can mess up or lose time on. One of them is the skip he is doing right now. That's the skip I was talking earlier.
And it's
There.
one of those skips that is very difficult for the amount of time that you get out of it.
What a pain.
Yes. It's mom skip. It's called like that because there is a mother machine that talks to you, and you don't want her to talk to you because it wastes time. He jumped over that trigger with a high jump
Access to those
and carries on.
transporters?
Since Dan picked up the near tower transporter, he probably will just transport there, which just skips the same cutscene.
So this
Their flight.
The other thing to note that Fudge is already done, but when you do all your buying of all your pots and buffs in the village, you also go to equip your chips usually. Some people choose to do it at 4
You
robots,
do
some do
it-
it in the village.
You do it in. It got rerouted into the shopping center.
Okay, yeah.
You do it. Fudge gonna do it soon, after defeating those 4 machines. It's basically those 4 machines have a chance of dropping weapon attack +1, I think, or +3 even. They potentially drop some good
Man,
chips,
the commander
so
sure is a slave
you defeat
driver,
those
huh?
4 machines
Now we have to
before
go back to the city
actually
limits.
equipping.
Why
Also,
don't we
you
just
see
go
that
to
see them never pick up
It's been a
items
while.
from the ground and still have them. That's because if items that drop from killed enemies that are laying on the ground get picked up by whenever a cutscene starts, and which is nice in its own. But actually, the cutscene also picks up all the items twice, which is why we don't pick up items. We let the cutscene pick it up for us, and we have them twice. So Dan now also finished his negotiations and bunker talk, so he's also now to shopping and then to the forest.
And the forest is one of those. It's one of those nice sections of the game where it's a lot of movement options and clip outs. I personally enjoy it for that part. It's just a lot of solid movement to just get a really good forest off, and then we can actually skip all of the castle that comes after forest.
Yes, castle
As you'll
skip
see Fudge is coming up on now.
it's probably one of my favorite skips, alongside
100%
Let's Play
agreed.
skip. But it's amazing. So yeah, you've seen some nice movement through the forest there. That section is really just movement, and Fudge is not doing Rainbow Road apparently. I cannot blame him. That one's difficult.
It's another one of those skips, same as
Yes.
Mom Skip, where it's very difficult for a 5-second time save. So it's you pretty much just get your one chance at it, and so if you're not consistent, it's just not worth going for.
So what he just did there is called Mario Kart skip. We call it Mario Kart because it works essentially the same as most of the skips in Mario Kart games.
This must be the commercial
At least the
structure
ones
Pascal
that
was
you
talking about.
probably you
Like
even
the
used
sales
sometimes when
once a
playing it
facility
casually.
was a shopping center.
What you do is you do a really long jump into to reach a drown zone you're not supposed to be in and have the game respawn you on the other side of the cliff of the river that we're supposed to cross. That saves us a cutscene and some annoying enemies. Well, it's nice. And yeah, you just saw Forest Castle skip.
He's just
Fudge
running
took
away.
a little while for it, but basically, well, there's those windows in the background. Let's just climb up those instead of going through the castle. And you actually needed to go through the castle about 3 times, 2 or 3 times, because it's
Looks like the
such a
forest is just
labyrinth.
ahead.
So it's pretty nice. I like it. Yes, and we're to the next boss fight. You wanna say something about A2?
I don't have a whole bunch to say about A2. It was honestly, it was probably the hardest fight for me learning this game, but I mean, once
Oh,
you have
yeah.
it down, it's pretty standard. She's pretty difficult because of just how many attacks she throws out
Here they
rapidly.
come. Better keep your
Yes,
guard
she's
up.
fast.
And
That's
she
dangerous.
also has the annoying tendency to dash away on you when you're in the middle of doing your combat.
Yes.
But
Fudge
Fudge
actually got a pretty
getting
nice
a very
fight.
clean A2, yeah.
Yes, and you're supposed to follow A2 out of that window, but we just decide not to, and we walk in the other direction. Obviously, we're not allowed to do that, but
Don't listen
we
to
do
what
it
they're saying,
anyways.
2B.
And yes, he's using the transporter to the
How are we
village.
supposed to reach that castle?
So yeah, if you jump out of that window, you have a really long dialogue. We don't like dialogue, so we just use the transporter to go directly to the village, skipping all that dialogue.
And Fudge definitely coming away with a pretty sizable lead. He's an entire castle and A2 fight ahead. He's actually on a really good run right now. I think he might be PB pace.
It looks like it. His timer is green, so I guess.
So now he's on his way back to the resistance camp to do a couple dialogues and then go to Flooded City before we hit our everyone's favorite section of the game. I don't know if we want to spoil the surprise. Everybody loves this part of the game, so
We will have way more than enough time when once it comes up.
it looks like Dan getting through Castle Skip without any problems, which would be, that's pretty nice considering he is behind. You don't want to get any further back by accidentally falling into the 3rd floor of Castle.
Yes. It's kind of a small edge up there. You need to just get used to all the out of bounds ground. The thing about the ground out of bounds is the visual ground pretty often does not line up with the collision, which makes it pretty difficult sometimes to move out of bounds.
Let's go, 9S.
So it's just a lot of trial and error, just walking around out of bounds and trying your best to, well, not fall down. And if you fall down, you know, next time I cannot go down there, and you do it again, and after you do it pretty often, you know where you can go, walk and where you cannot.
Fudge again keeping up his clean run. No issues with the flooded city skip.
Let's go after
Yes.
Not a particularly difficult skip, but it's a little daunting when you're learning the run through, just because
Yes.
it's
There's
knowing the angles.
There's an easier version that I still do in my speedruns, and it's not slower by much, but it is slower. So if you want top times, you gonna use the faster one.
Okay, so Dan, he was just in. He's just going to village now.
He's going
Fudge.
to village now. I think that's 2.5 minutes, if I remember correctly.
And here we go,
That
Fudge,
Fudge is ahead.
getting into the exciting part of the game, the gripping gameplay.
Yes, another shmup section at the beginning. The beginning is actually decent, because you can speed that up again. But well, then we're up to probably well, I say probably, but we are up to the longest boss fight in the game.
And
It's an auto scroller.
Yep. This
It's
is
Grun.
a run fight. Grun.
Grun. Yeah.
Good old Grun. Yeah, it is. It's as much as it sounds like it is kind of Resident Sleeper. It's just a side scroller for most of it.
Most of it.
And we always joke about finding a Grun skip. Wouldn't it be nice? We could shave 14 to 15 minutes off the run. I think that's how long Grun is.
Yes, it's about 15 minutes. I think Marbles posted something about 14 minutes and 9 seconds. But in his sum of bests, but he is second place runner, so we will be at least at something like 15 minutes with these runners. Not that there is a big amount of time saved between a good runner and a bad runner, since, well, most of it's
So I was going to say this, but it looks like Canaris is also getting in on this in chat. I was going to offer up a bounty for anybody who wanted to try and find a Grun skip, if that's your thing, if you like finding glitches in speedrunning and ways to speed up the run. I was going to offer up $50 to anybody who can do it. I will.
By what I've
Is that
seen
collab?
in chat,
Canaris
We're
is
at-
getting 500.
we're at $1,000, $1,129, if I added that up correctly, and a pizza.
So there you go. If that is your type of thing, if finding skips is your thing, it's free real estate.
I think that's the last.
But yeah, we'll be able to
So,
kind of see the difference in time for sure on Grun, since it's
Yes.
really not a big time save. We can judge pretty
But I-
accurately how far
I
apart
think
they
Dan caught up a little bit.
are. A little bit.
He's not that much behind anymore. Let's just see where we are on Grun spawn.
So again, with the Goliath flyer that you see Fudge fighting, it's the same as Engels in the terms that you want to do pod fires or pod programs. Takes 4 to kill and a little bit of hits, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
while you're buffed.
Well, it takes 4 of them, but because of the countdown, it's like it's more like 3.5 plus pod fire.
Yeah.
So it's you put in 2 pod programs, then pot fire during the cooldown, and then 2 more, and he's dead. Yeah, if you're unlucky, 9S can steal the kill on that one. And if 9S kills anything, you don't get any experience for that. Which is why some runners decide to set the partner AI to passive, so that they don't attack anything. But if you do that, you miss out on some. You do gain more experience, but you miss out on some time save from the enemies that are killed. So
Attention, this is Carrier Blue Ridge 2.
that's probably up to
Requesting
preference.
support from any friendly units in range. We've come under heavy fire from the enemy. Our escort ship is taking damage and is unable to engage. We're currently resisting with all remaining support fighters, but we can't hold them off
Fudge
for long.
had a Groom beginning at about 1 hour and 3 minutes. A bit below, I think. Let's see where Dan ends up.
Again, it all could come down to one bad deep factory skip, and Dan can
Yes.
make all this time back. Or
Like I said, I said earlier, we have a lot of difficult skips up. And we have about 20 minutes left, a bit more than 20 minutes left in this race, probably. Something between 20 and 30 minutes. Judging from their PBs, I guess. No, I miscalc. I'm stupid. 30 to 40. Something between 30 and 40 minutes. And yeah, we have three pretty difficult skips in there. Copied City, Mansplaining, and Deep Factory. But we will talk about each of them once they come up, I would say.
the fun sort of thing about this game is right towards the end, it just kind of becomes the boss city. It's just
Yes.
boss after boss after boss right towards the end of the game.
Yes. Especially in the speedrun, since the more we near the end, the more we skip out of all the movement stuff. So right now we're in theory not in the boss rush because we still have a lot of small stuff to do, but we skip most of the small stuff, so
If it's that big, we should be able to see it.
it's pretty much boss rush already. So on Fudge's side, you can already see he's on the first EMP core, if I saw correctly.
It's freaking huge.
Yeah, it is first.
And yeah, there's 3 of those, and those 3 are basically the only thing where you can save time killing those 3. Alongside Mortar, but Mortar is not really difficult.
It's blocking
To do
close-range
optimal.
attacks with EMP blasts. We've got to find another way to damage it.
And Fudge did start that. He started that EMP generator at 104.50, so we'll be able to see how far ahead he is on Dan.
I think it's about this time I watched at Fudge's timer too, so it's still about 2.5 minutes, maybe even more. Let's see once Dan reaches the first EMP generator to get an accurate timing. But it appears to me that Fudge is still more than 2 minutes ahead. But like I said, everything's still open. You can very easily lose 2 minutes after this point.
Enemy data obtained from command.
Go ahead.
The only known record of this
So yeah, I don't really have much to talk about, since this is a 15-minute section of doing nothing.
Yep.
So, do you have anything interesting we can talk about?
Not that I can think of. The only little side note I had was the kind of time progression of the run over time, and how we've had a very stagnant. Well, we've had one particular world record holder for almost coming up on a year now.
Is it really that much? Wow.
Very that much. So the last world record held for this category was 1:36:40, which was set by Icefire June. Actually, today, last year.
Wait, seriously?
A year to this day was the last time the world record was set by somebody other than Canaris. So that time stood for almost 2 months until Canaris came along and took the record on July 31st, 2017 at an hour 35:57, and he's just been slowly improving the time down, and now the world record is 1:24:50.
Yes.
Something. I might be wrong on the seconds, but it's 1:24:50 something.
Yes. Which is pretty amazing, and we're talking about Canaris, obviously. Not sure if he's still in chat or if he gone to sleep. I hope he's gone to sleep because he needs to do stuff tomorrow. So he should sleep.
Yep. But it is very interesting that somebody has held the record for.
And at this point, also shout-outs to Canaris, who did a lot in organizing this tournament, and of course to everyone else who did stuff. He's not the only one, but he's done a lot. And thank you all for organizing this tournament. It's really fun already, and we're seeing a good race, and we will see a lot more good races.
And it's quite interesting as well too with the we brought up the tournament numbers earlier at being 32 participants. A lot of those players are new runners to this game.
Yes.
People have been playing for almost less than a month, myself included.
Yeah, we have like the runners Fudgecow, I think, joined a month or less before. Dan joined 2 months, I think, something like that. And yes, aside from that, we have a lot of new runners, which is pretty amazing, and I'm really glad about that. I myself, I'm a relatively new runner. I only joined about half a year ago.
That enormous machine is an ancient weapon. It was designed to help.
So hopefully we'll have some new world record competition.
Yes, hopefully in a couple of months, some of those new runners will get dangerous to the top up there, and we will see some new world records.
That or Marky beats us all to the punch, shows grunt skip, and pockets his $1,000.
Yes. Marky, for those who don't know who he is, Marky is a god in Nier Automata speedrunning. He has found so many skips in this game. He's amazing. So, shoutouts to Marky too.
9S is leaving the front lines.
And we're nearing the end of Fudgecow's rune fight, I think. He's at the last EMP core now. So that's nice.
So this is a little bit speculative, but I was watching Fudge stream before this race, and just so there's a hope for Danflesh here. There was one thing he seemed to be having issues with, and that was the commander dialogue skip in Resistance Camp after Atom 2.
Oh yeah, that skip.
If he screws it up here, I think it costs about a minute and something.
Yeah, that's it's not a difficult skip once you know how to execute it, but it's kind of tricky. So to get the hang of. So, and it's a really long dialogue. You just have to sit there and wait out.
And the other kick to it too is if you do screw up the dialogue skip, you end up usually in an effort to save your time, you won't end up buying skill salves, which can help speed up your end game greatly.
Yes.
It's not the end of the world. A lot of runners do run the end of the game without skill salves.
Skill salves, they don't really save time if you're good at combat, but if you're not, they are quite nice. it's like the easy strats for the end boss. That
So now
involves the skill selves.
Now we're seeing Fudge come up on copied city skip, and this is the
Yes.
hardest skip in the game.
One
It
of the
is
hardest, not the
One
hardest.
of the hardest.
The hardest
It
is
is-
probably Deep Factory Part 2.
Oh, when he
We
gets
will,
it.
we will see that later. He
Very-
got it. Amazing.
Very nice.
Took a while for the elevator to load in there, but he got it. Well, that was one point where Dan could have caught up if Fudge would have taken a while, but he didn't. So Fudge building up his lead here, and well, he got a pretty precise skip there. But that only means that he's up right up to the next one at the beginning of the next boss fight. That, what a surprise, involves more boring talk from Adam.
And we do have a way to at least deal with it in this situation.
Yes.
We call it mansplaining. You're going to see Fudgecow setting up for it right now. Ideally, what you end up doing is, because there's a trigger at the back of the fight, and if you try to leave the fight, you end up getting one of the joke endings in the game.
Yes, basically it's it's not about leaving the fight, it's about leaving Copied City. Once you entered Copied City, you are supposed to be in there. It's not the joke ending trigger, that's a different one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's just a reminder of Pod that your quest continues down here and not up the elevator, but I think you can leave safely. But you're not supposed to be at this point during the fight because, well, there's a wall there, but we just went through the wall.
Oh, and Fudge trying to do the funny little thing, that glide
yeah.
there.
And so the thing is how dialogue in this game works. We had the dialogue of Adam talking. Then we went into the elevator and Pod started talking about how we shouldn't leave. And that dialogue overrode the dialogue of Adam. So once Pod was finished talking, which was pretty fast, it was like one sentence, there was no dialogue anymore and the fight continues.
Alright, so Dan coming up on Copied City Skip now. We'll see if he gets the same good execution that Fudge got.
Second try. Amazing.
Very nice.
Oh, but he might have messed up his out of bounds, but he still got it.
Just barely.
Nice. He messed up his inputs for the plunge, so it was a bit slower. But he still got it, didn't wait out, didn't have to do the clip again, so everything's fine for him. Let's see if he also gets a nice mansplaining or if he loses a couple of more seconds there.
And this was the dialogue skip I was talking about for Fudge. This will be Dan's hope of getting it back. Looks like Fudge is going to get it
But no,
alright.
Fudge got it.
Fudge got it.
Fudge is running pretty decently, and Dan is too. And none of them is doing any major mistakes. It's just Fudge is a little bit faster, and over the course of the it's probably about almost 1 hour and 20 minutes that we're in this now, if we respect the load remover. So Fudge is just a little bit faster, and that just shows over the time even more. Dan got also a nice mansplaining, got stuck shortly out of bounds, but he's on his way to the elevator now and doing the dialogue cancel. Fudge on his side is on the way to the factory, meeting up with Pascal to meet some other machines about a peace treaty. And you've seen the run, we've been killing machines the entire time. Now we're about to negotiate a peace treaty. Sounds very good. Actually, it sounds way too good.
Now, let us embrace
And we've definitely got a couple more hard skips coming up here.
Yes.
Again, another
very
chance
precise
for
skip.
Dan to get back.
And let's see how much Fudge actually tries, because
I don't have time for you. I need
if he tries and doesn't get it, that's a lot of time that
9S.
Dan can get back. On the other hand, of course, Dan can mess a lot of things up there, increasing the lead that Fudge has over him.
Come to me!
So I'm curious if Fudge is going to go for the Mook's room skip or not.
Yes, that will be amazing.
It will
Interesting
be.
to see.
It's one of those things that, depending, I guess, on your comfort on the run, if you're fine with doing Eve at the end at level 19 because you didn't
You
get enough
can still
experience.
get level 20
Yep.
if everything went perfect. So basically, what the Mook's out of bounds is, there's a fight coming up against a lot of small enemies, and you can skip that fight,
Analyze current trends among the machines.
which saves
Something tells me
time.
this is going
It
to
saves,
involve
I
a
think,
lot of
8 seconds over a perfect fight,
Procure
and
information from the
of
machine
course even more time over a non-perfect fight.
I suppose he might
But
notice
you
me.
miss out on a lot of
Can you
experience,
hear
which
me?
makes it really hard to reach level 20 by the end of
Do you
the
need
run.
something?
I need
And
to know if you've seen any
level
new
20
signs or behaviors
actually
among the
saves
machines.
quite some time over
Trends?
level 19.
Hmm.
So you really want
2 days
you really
ago,
want
I
to
was
reach that.
contacted by some
It
machines
is
that
possible to
disconnected
do
themselves from the
everything with
network.
level
They
19,
wanted to discuss a peace
but
treaty.
it's
No
slower.
kidding.
Apparently, they're seeking to form an alliance of some kind with our village.
If that's what they want, why don't they move in?
I believe they're working on building a colony of their own.
You don't say.
Indeed. Apparently, it's located in the abandoned factory. I can give you the coordinates.
All
of the
right,
site.
so let's see if he goes for it. If he goes for a
It's actually
perfect fight
pretty
or the
deep with
Mook
them
clip.
myself, you know. Maybe we can meet up over
Looks
there.
like he's gonna go
Sounds
for
good.
clip.
Yes, he's gonna try the clip at
Target
least,
location data obtained. Marking on map.
There
and
we
he
go.
got it. Amazing. Fast
So-
struts from Fudgecow, and well, falling down there brings, before you void out, you bring a lot of distance between you and that room, which despawns all the enemies, and the fight is over. You can continue through that elevator.
Even you?
In truth, yes. Now that we're cut off from the network, we no longer share data with each other. We can speak, of course.
So
I find that language
we
contains
have
many ways
this
to
room with
influence
9S
the
now,
intentions.
and in the room we have a nice
Certainly
skip
does.
to the end of the factory from the room we were in before. But we need to get back, and we cannot ride the elevator. But if we jump out of bounds here and void out, we can use the elevator again and go back. So that's what that out of bounds void out was for.
And it's with the current iteration of the skip, it's not particularly hard to pull off that
pretty
clip
easy.
if you use the heavy
The heavy hold.
heavy hold. Yeah, and it
But-
saves quite a bit of time.
If you
I
look
think
at
it's a
some
minute
of the older iterations of that skip, they are pretty insane.
and a very very weird
And
second part of the
Fudge
silo
Cow.
skip from Fudge.
yes, he
actually-
was a bit off, and he landed. And yes, we jumped down there. Down there is a story trigger that we definitely have to get to progress. There is an even harder version of this skip
So why are you still
that
here?
involves
Well, I brought you this far.
voiding out inside that trigger, and it's
To the end.
that hard because if you're too fast, you fall down, hit the trigger, and land on the ground, which makes you go through this section with the crushers. It's slower even normally, but most of all, you have the crushers. Crushers are scary because they one-hit you no matter what. And this was so yeah.
And missing the void out isn't the end of the world. The big part of the silo skip is the 9S room skip. and just hitting that trigger in general. I think it takes about
Yes, you need
30
to
to
hit the
40
trigger.
more seconds just to run it through the level from that point. If you put
Yes,
yourself back into the
something
2D
about
side
30
scroller,
seconds.
about
Yes,
there.
so basically what we can do is when we jump down there to that story trigger and we slow down our fall by the right amount, we hit the trigger, but we don't hit the ground before we void out and respawn on top, and we can do another plunge in the other direction to get really close to the end.
And Fudge now starting the Soshi fight. It looks like he's opted for the non-PG strategy, and he's going to actually put himself up on top of the bridge and just hang himself there until the end, because there's an unskippable dialogue while you're waiting for 9S to turn the power off to the factory. You can just sit up there and kill the time off, so you don't have to worry about
It's
getting
just a
attacked.
timer again, and usually you have to run in circles on the ground, but if you're up there, you just do nothing.
So we'll see how Dan's gonna deal with
Yes.
this skip here.
Let's see what Dan is doing with the skip. If he gets it, and maybe even gets part 2 of the skip with the correct whiteout. If he does get that, and first try, he will get some time back. And
Alright,
he didn't
so
get
he
it.
gets
He
the
also
same
landed on the ground,
Yeah.
All right.
which is not bad. It's still a huge amount of time save, at least a minute over doing it normally. Way over a minute to do it normally even. So he's gonna walk the last bit too, past the crushes, and then he will also be at the Soshi fight.
Fudge finishing up Soshi pretty nicely here. He's going to be on his way out of factory now. So again, he's still about a boss ahead now.
Yes,
the gap's
this
closed
basically
definitely
is-
since Grun, but
I do think so.
still with a pretty
Let's-
sizable lead.
Yes, we can compare the times when they leave factory.
Now this is the one point in the run where we actually do use run, because you can charge up the running speed in the elevator and continue to run it down. So in this one instance, it is faster to do the run than it is to do long dashes
Yes.
and dash swings. But just because
Yes.
we can charge it up in the elevator.
Yes, because like I said earlier, running at full speed actually is one of the fastest movements, but just reaching that full speed takes too long for it to be usable in most of the time. But in that instance, we have the waiting time in the elevator anyways, so we charge up the run in there, and it's fine. So 125 leaving the factory on Fudge's end,
Energy shield detected over enemy unit.
while
Defense shield
Dan just entered Soshi fight. So it's the fight and the relatively small walk out of the factory. Let's see how much time that actually is.
And I still think Fudge might be on par to personal best here.
9S, that Goliath we
Yes,
just encountered.
it might be. I checked out his stream earlier, but he doesn't have his full splits on, so I couldn't see where exactly he was in time.
Hang in there, 2B. 90%. 92.
So this now is the real boss rush, and this is, I guess, 4 bosses coming up now, without a real break in between, and that's even without skipping anything.
I just shut down the electrical grid.
So yeah, also we're past most of the skips. Well, unless one of our runners is able to pull off Eve phase 2 skip. But we will see that.
But there's
So-
very little possibility of soft locking anymore. There's no more out of bounds clips.
Yes. So, which doesn't mean that that Fudge cannot lose time anymore. Fudge can lose a lot of time if he dies, and dying on the final boss Eve, for example, is not really really an unlikely thing.
So again, here, just in the back, it's just clear the mooks out as quick as possible.
Yes.
Sorry, not mooks, stubbies, Jesus.
Yes.
And then just make your way over to Bokushi, just a more powered up Soshi.
Yes.
Can be kind of annoying to deal with depending on the ability he throws out at you, but it's all manageable.
Yes. That boss in the factory, there's actually 4 she's in the game. It sounded different. Whatever. And yeah, we beat the first, we're gonna see the second, and we're not gonna see the other 2 in this category.
Wow, that was certainly something. I had no idea such a vast space existed beneath the abandoned factory. I need to return and investigate as soon as possible.
So Fudge is at Bokushi, and he got a nice attack pattern.
Just nice, easy orbs that get shot out at you, and while you're doing your damage glitch anyways, it just gets rid of them, so it's pretty negligible. Definitely
Yes.
one of the easier patterns to get.
And yeah, and you saw some electricity on the ground. He shocks the water, but that's where resilience comes in, because, well, since you don't get staggered by hits, it doesn't really matter if you get hit by the electricity, and you just heal whatever damage you take from it and continue damage glitching. So that was the first of the 4 boss fights. Now he's on Core 1, the second boss fight. You can go up on this hill, which gives you a slight advantage in the fight, because the boss flies a small bit above the ground, but if you're on the hill and you have a higher ground, you're pretty much even, and you can just damage glitch him like everyone else. And as you saw, pretty fast fight too.
Now the other thing I wanted to point out on the Bokushi is it looks like Fudge did not opt to self-destruct and kill
No, he
Stubbies
didn't.
at the end of the fight. So I'll be interested to see. It looks like he should get level 20, I think. Core 2 should be enough to give him 20.
Yes, we will see at Core 2 to get him at 20. I don't know. He could get it, or he could just barely not get it.
Yep.
We won't really see that until he's done with that.
But a lot of the time when runners opt to do the Mook's room skip, usually you want to try and pick up experience where you can, either in the negotiations phase out or
yes, negotiations
right
and alone the self-destruct at Adam Pit. That's one point where you can get all that time back.
Now, interesting thing that we're probably going to see on Core 2 here, it looks like he's actually just opting to double damage glitch Core 2. A lot of the time, runners will also use pod slow-mo to slow it down so that they can one-cycle core. He gets a pretty clean Core 2, though. Can't tell if he gets 20 or not.
Slow-mo, I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but whenever you charge up a pod program, the world and everything slows down, but you don't. So an optimal combat would be, in addition to the double damage glitch that they're doing, you would throw in a slow-mo almost the entire time, which would result in the same damage output from you, but less movement and damage and everything from the enemy, which is nice. But it's really hard to execute because it's a lot more button presses than just a double damage glitch. But it's, like you can see, it's entirely not required to run this game. You can get really good times easily without it.
So, at this point in the game, we're now on Eve, the last boss of the game. Oh, unfortunately, Fudge gets platforms.
That's low.
That's unfortunate.
And I didn't quite see if he messed his combat up or if he just got unlucky.
Pascal?
Fudge's personal best is an hour 36:45, so he's definitely on pace to break PB here. Even
Yes.
with the platforms, he is looking
Yes.
pretty comfortable here.
So, and now we'll see, that was phase 1 of Eve, and you see him regaining his health here. And there is a skip that you can attack him during that healing, and if you deal enough damage, you can, and over a long enough time frame, you can skip this second phase that he's on right now. Doesn't save too much time, and to actually pull off the skip, most of the time you will need either good luck with critical attacks, critical hits, or pod slow-mo. But again, it doesn't save too much time, especially not if you do such a nice phase 2 as Fudgecow did. Now he's on to phase 3. Eve is flying, and we're just shooting him. And this is where the
It's gotta be.
skill salves that he picked up after Cloud City come in. So basically he's going to use lasers on Eve as much as possible instead of only pod fire, which just increases the damage output a little bit.
And you really need as much damage as you can get here, seeing as you're down to just your ranged fire and whatever you can fit in aerial combat in between
Yes.
his attacks.
But the aerial combat really is almost nothing. Not
It's-
with 2B. With 9S you can actually do some decent damage.
Alright, Fudge
Dan
wins the
also
last phase.
entered the Eve fight, and yeah,
Oh, and Dan gets
So-
platforms as well.
Dan gets platforms as well. So the only way Dan can now still win the race is if Fudge messes up and dies, but it doesn't look like that. Not as long as he keeps up his buffs and everything.
Eve is
But
about to
he's
drop
really done with
here.
that.
Very close. Any second now. There we go.
Yes.
And this is going to be very
And-
close to sub 135.
Yes. I think he might still get it. I'm not too comfortable. But it will be a really low one, and I think it's a PB for him.
Definitely a PB.
A large number of latent machine life forms.
He's absorbing the life force. of
Congratulations to Fudge.
Yes. And time is once the current dialogue finishes.
I'm going to try hacking into
And there we go. He got his sub 135.
on it.
Awesome.
Very nice.
That's really close to sub 135, but it is sub 135.
Actions of Unit 9S have an unacceptably low probability of success. Proposal: Unit 2B should abandon Unit 9. Enemy unit cut off from network functionality.
Alright, and
And
Dan now going into phase
Then on
3.
the other hand, phase 3 almost finished himself.
And I do believe Fudge also has passed Dan's personal PB as well at 135.39.
Yes.
So big congratulations. Good run, Fudge.
Yes. Congratulations, Fudge. You did really good. And yeah, it was a clean run-up. It was a clean run-up both of our runners.
Oh no.
Dan got unlucky, he died.
He tried to go for the aerial combat on
Yes.
Eve's front-facing attack.
Oh no, he actually
but the
didn't.
little- Oh, he.
He didn't. It just.
I was pretty sure he was dead.
No, it was Eve who died, or the phase ended. It looked like he was dying.
It very much looked like he died.
He might even have died. Yeah, it was critical health.
Yeah.
He didn't die.
Still a very close call.
but it looked like it because of the phase end and everything.
All right, and Dan coming in.
Yes, Dan coming out of this. His phase 4 was actually pretty fast, but still.
Well, good run from both of the runners. No soft locks today.
But you'll lose you. The you that
No
exists
grunt
at
skip
this very
revealed today
moment.
either.
Guess so. But we can't
Yes, no soft locks, decent race from both of them.
direct data to the bunker. So
GG to both runners.
Yes.
And I think we're waiting. I don't know if they have the runners come in, say a couple words.
Don't know right now.
So I suppose we'll just wait for that.
Yeah, wait for that. So, big applause to both of the runners, and at this point, yeah.
I guess we'll
I
just
want to say
thank
I want
yous,
to
yeah.
say thanks to some people. First, to you six for commentating this with me.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Likewise
Thank you
to
for
you.
that. It was nice. It was fun. Thank you to the runners for running in this tournament. You both did a really good job. Showed us some nice runs. Yeah. And then again, thank you to Canaris, who did most of this tournament, as I heard from Marbles, but of course also to Marbles and everyone else who did something in this tournament to make this happen, because this is fun. I like it. And of course, thanks to all the people from Speed Gaming for hosting this on their channel and doing all this nice stuff. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, Fudge.
Yes, there's Fudge, still muted. And also Dan.
There we go. GG on both of the runs, guys.
Yes, I think they're...
Congratulations on the PB, Fudge. Oh, he actually has no sound.
Okay.
Okay, Dennis, you're
Okay.
first. Congratulations to you.
I lost.
You lost, but
Yeah.
it still was a very good run.
I have
It
some
was
high.
Okay,
one
Fudge,
of the most unluckiest run I've ever done. I got 2 unskippable cutscenes, I guess because of the sound thing.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
accidentally
Which
like
ones?
turn on my sound only for one, like on one point, and I guess it prevents from skipping cutscenes after self-destruction or minutes, because I wasn't able to skip 2 cutscenes at all.
Yeah, and you got that long Bovar one too.
Yeah, that's
That's
unfortunate.
unfortunate.
I never had that, but
I had that
something
one.
like that happen in a run is really unlucky.
Also, I didn't get any crit chips or any damage chips, and then I got platforms into very bad phase, like last phase Ever in G.
Yes, you both had
And-
platforms actually.
Well, actually,
Platforms.
if I didn't get really bad last phase Ever in G and didn't get the unskippable cutscenes, it could be PB for me, actually.
My
But
PV.
Yes, so at this point, congratulations to you, Fudge, for winning this race and also
Thank you.
getting this awesome PB. You're sub 135 now. Congratulations.
It's a big
That was
milestone.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Congrats.
now Fudge is the king of Speed Souls
King of
community.
Speed Souls. Yeah.
Now you just got to
Thanks,
grind to get it
Nickman.
back.
Yeah. The Dark
Yes.
Souls showdown. But yeah, I don't know. I'm happy about that run for me. It was a good run.
Yeah, nothing too detrimental that showed up. Just trying to. There was some unlucky things, like just the deep factory skip.
Yeah, I was messing that up, so I just rather would do wood crushers.
Yeah.
Then like go back up and like just mess up again, because I was about to land on the side scroller. So I just dropped all the way down instead.
It's not too terrible of a time loss, anyways. Only about 30 seconds, so
Yeah, but
Yes,
crushes
yeah.
are terrifying.
Crushes are
was-
that's
was
the
really
worst thing about that. Crushes are terrifying.
I
Yes.
Also
almost died
punches.
the last one.
Did you get punches, Fudge? I got
No.
punches.
Nah.
I guess I lost like 2.5 minutes because of the
Because of Nier.
unfortunate things.
Yeah, you started off with punches, right?
Yeah, punches into unskippable
That's a bad
cutscenes,
RNG start already. But
into 0 attack chips.
Yeah, I
that
got
was
one
bad
crit.
luck.
I actually got the crit when I picked it up in the cave.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
saw that.
Yeah, I cleared the cave really fast. I buffed up for
Nice.
Eve, and he just like melted.
Yes,
And then
your
so I cleared the
negoti-
cave, just thought, oh, I got some chip drop, and it's a crit. So that was pretty fun. That was like the only thing I got. No, I got a bunch of auto heals, but I think I also didn't blow up in Adam pit. I got like hit with like 0.1 left on the self detonation.
Yeah, that's unfortunate sometimes.
Yeah, it's whatever.
All right. Well, I think that just
Do
about
you-
wraps it up. Or do you guys have anything else
Yeah.
to
Don't know. Do you have
Well,
any
thanks
more
for-
questions to them? Six?
No, I can't think of anything else. I think we
I'm just
covered
thinking
most
if
everything.
there's anything we didn't mention about the race, but I think we're done.
Thanks for commentating, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
GG
thanks to
again.
you again for running.
Yeah, it was a nice race.
It was a nice race.
Alrighty. Well, best of luck to you guys in your future races.
Thank
Yeah. See you later,
Yes.
Alrighty.
everyone.
you. Good night. Goodbye.
And we should probably get going because I think Bloodborne is wanting to start here just about
Yes.
11 a.m. So I will also be
So-
leaving as well. Thanks for commentating with
We'll
me,
be
Henry.
leaving. Yes, thanks to you again. Thanks to everyone else here again, and we'll leave this up to the speed gaming crew again.
Have a good day, everybody.